Hello, everyone. Here's my disclaimer. The views of the guest in this interview may not represent those of the station or the host. Please discuss any information with your primary care physician. Hi, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio, where our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. Folks, all my guests are phenomenal. I just happened to have met my guest on today in person, which makes it even more special because I never get to meet my guests in person because they're all over the country. But my guest with me today lives in New Jersey. Yay for New Jersey. And a lovely person. I'm really excited. Folks, if you have a person at home or in a facility, you're going to want to listen to my guest. How do you communicate with your loved one? Do you need a device to keep communication open and to keep in touch? Does your person who is aging and placed at home, do they have a device where they can keep in touch with their loved ones? You're going to want to listen to my guest today. I have with me today Paula Mueller, who has a PhD. She has a GSA-NC. She's a certified dementia practitioner. She also has a CDC, a CADDCT. Paula is an electrical and biomedical engineer, and she is founder of Sociavi Company. And she's going to talk about what she does, how she invented this company, her device, which is helping people around the world. I want to welcome Paula Mueller to Chatting with Betsy.
Thank you, Betsy. This is such a wonderful introduction. I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and with your audience. And it's true, we were the lucky ones that are so close by here in New Jersey that we had the opportunity to have a cup of coffee and get to know each other better. And we have spent a few hours together through Zoom and in person. And I truly appreciate you and all the work that you do as in advocacy and support of families and caregivers of people living with dementia, which is so important.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Paula, for your kind words, and I appreciate what you do. So I want you to know the Sociavi bag that you gave me, I use that when going to ShopRite. So people get to see it now that we can't use plastic bags here in New Jersey. It's a great bag to put my eggs in and, to keep it separate. I want to let you know that I do use that bag. How did you, you're welcome, how did you come up with your company, Sociavi? I love the name. And what does that mean? I know it's Spanish,
thank you.
Right?
Yes.
I think it's Spanish.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Betsy. So the name of the company is Sociavi, and that is a Latin word that means share and unite. And it really represents the mission of the company, which is to bring people together, to share moments, to share experiences, to be together, to be united, even across long distances. And remove any barrier that technology may pose, especially for older adults. And the company came about from my own experience. I'm originally from Chile, and my family, most of my family are still living in Chile, but I also have my in-laws living in Switzerland. So as you see, families are distributed all over the world, but even in the U.S., with long distances, people living in California, in Texas, Arizona, Hawaii, New Jersey, New York, you name it, right? So the families are distributed. Children go to college, to other states, look for work opportunities, and then at the end of the day, the families are distributed. So having seen that, I also saw a communication gap. I was seeing us growing with technology professionally, and now you name it. Our children, they with as soon as they start playing with the iPads or iPhone from their parents, they grow up with technology. But then, on the other hand, we have older adults that did not grow up with technology. And even if they did professionally at some point, what I find also is the situation with disease or even cognitive impairment that may happen in the case of dementia, where you may lose your rational thinking that allows you to process all the sequence of steps that are needed for to process and operate these modern devices. So I thought, how can I bridge that gap? I see that in my family. My grandmother, she passed away from Parkinson's and dementia. She was not able to operate a tablet, an iPad. So how do I help them? And that's how I created my company and the product that I offer, which is a dedicated device that allowed them, the older adults, to very simply operate. And basically, all the work of the operation is by the family members, that I bridged that gap by the family member installing an app in their smartphone, the ones that they already have, and through the app in their smartphone can control this device for the older adult remotely. So they can send pictures, videos, even have a live face-to-face video visit, and the older adult doesn't need to do absolutely anything. They are the beneficiaries of these activities that are initiated by the family members. So that was the motivation, and that's what I developed, really simplicity to bridge that gap that I found is so relevant, and we experienced that so much during COVID.
That sounds very necessary in today's world, as people, as you said, are all over. Also, Sociavi is a Latin word and not Spanish. Thank you for making that clear. I don't know why I was thinking it was a Spanish word. Now, how does that work, Paula? Does the person get this device and then their relatives have the app?
Yes. So the relatives have the app, and from the app, the relatives can control what is displayed on the screen of this device. So think about that your mother or your mother-in-law, Betsy, she will have this screen which really looks like a picture frame, a digital picture frame. So she will have this digital picture frame type device in her house or wherever she lives. As you said, she could be living in an assisted living, in a memory care, in a rehabilitation center. No matter where they call home, that's where they will have this dedicated device that looks like a picture frame. And then they only connect it to the power outlet, and they need to have also Wi-Fi or internet in order that the communication can take place. But then the families, through the app, no matter where they are in the world, can be in touch with their family members. So, for example, I can give you an example. One of my families, the grandmother actually lives in Arizona in an assisted living, and then the granddaughter is living in Israel. And from the app in Israel, the granddaughter can stay in touch with the grandmother in Arizona.
That is so cool. I just did, it's funny, I just did an interview last week talking about grandparents. And yes, because parenting today, and I'm not a grandparent, but people are all over they're all over the place. Even if you live in the States, your, grandchildren, if you have any, may live miles and miles away from you. This is a great device to keep communication, and it's important. I can't impress that enough, Paula, to people. that it's important for grandparents to stay in touch and parents to stay in touch with their children and grandchildren, because grandparents offer such wisdom, and their grandchildren can learn such life valuable lessons. And it's very important for an older person. Now, I'm going to be 65, so I guess I'm in that range now, to be in communication with their family. And especially when it was during the pandemic, when people couldn't see each other physically in person, this would be a wonderful device. Did you see your sales go up during the pandemic?
Yes, they did. And actually, we were very happy that we were able to offer peace of mind to so many families, because that was exactly the situation. Because it was new, nobody knew how to react, how to operate. We all know that many facilities went into so-called lockdown, and the only way to stay in touch with the families, you were not able to visit physically. So you had to be able to find a way to be virtual with your loved one. And you point out several important points, Betsy. One of them is the benefits for the older adults. We know that it's so important, the socialization. It's not only for the spirit to prevent depression, but also cognition. I mean, if you don't interact with other people, that affects your cognitive abilities as well. And on the other hand, it's so important for the grandchildren to experience their history, their part of that they belong to something much bigger than their immediate nucleus. The sense of belonging and experiences and shared history is so relevant. That gives them a perspective so much wider, and it anchors them in a much solid foundation. It's so important, the communication. Even we know that isolation and loneliness affect our health, physical health, affect our mental health, and down the line it may even increase the risk of developing dementia and diseases like Alzheimer's. So having a holistic approach to life that involves social connection, a cognitive stimulation that also involves physical activity and healthy eating, it's all comprehensive for a healthy aging and a good quality of life in our older years. This is
I agree.
So important.
Yes, communication. Nobody likes to be isolated. And I talked about the abandonment of the caregiver and the person who has dementia way before the pandemic. I've always been ahead of my time. And the world got a taste of abandonment, of isolation during the pandemic because we couldn't see each other in person. And I could tell you, folks, I worked as a nurse. Human touch, yes, is very important, and there's nothing that can replace that. But if you can't physically be with your loved one, then this device is the next best thing, where they can see you and they can communicate with you. You can communicate with your loved one. I do have a question, Paula. Now, if you have someone who is not tech savvy, would they be able to find this device easy to work? As I know, I'm not tech savvy at all.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, Betsy. That's the whole premise of the device, to be 100% simple to use for older adults. So let me just share with you. I built this device with all the elements of simplicity. So my families, the people that we are assisting with this device, have Parkinson's, have mild cognitive impairment, never used a computer before. Even at their older ages, is frustration free for them, because really it's only touch screen. So I was just given a talk and I did a workshop in Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago, and I focus on all the design elements that I pay attention in order to build this device and this service. And what happens is, as people get older, we have problems that we can categorize in 4 areas. One is vision, one is hearing, one is dexterity, and the other one is cognition. And what happens is that as we get older, we have problems with vision. We all need at some point, sooner than others, reading glasses. And I'm pathetic. I have 3, and I always losing them. But independent of that, we need to have something that is large enough. So that's what the device is, a 13 inches screen, so like a large laptop. The other thing is with hearing. We know that 1 in 3 older adults 65 and older have problems hearing, and half of older adults 85 and older have some hearing disabilities. So we need to create a device that provides a very loud volume, and we have accommodated for that as well. The third issue is with dexterity. As we get older, we may develop arthritis or even diseases like Parkinson or multiple sclerosis. So doing all these activities of tapping, pinching, zooming, scrolling, flickering, and you name it that you need for an iPad or a tablet, it's very difficult for older adults. So we eliminated all of those activities by just simplifying it with simple touch, if at all, in some of the activities. And lastly, we have the situation with cognitive decline in some situations that may come with age. And for that, the device it doesn't have all these multiple apps that you will be. There's no app, actually. It's a self-contained, dedicated, single-purpose device that the functionality it presents just one thing at a time, very simple, that is not overwhelming, that it doesn't cause confusion. All of those are elements that we have added to the design in order that those older adults that are not technology savvy, they can comfortable be, as I said before, beneficiaries of the interaction and communication, and they don't have to worry or think about anything about technology.
That sounds so awesome, especially if you're like me, who is not tech savvy at all. Now, if someone who has advanced dementia, then they would need someone to assist them, obviously, to plug in the device and to turn it on.
So let me explain you what happened in that area. Really, the device, I always compare that with an appliance like a refrigerator, that you connect it to the power outlet and you forget about it. So this device doesn't have a power button. You only have to connect it once to the power outlet. And then the very first time, it's true, someone will have to select the Wi-Fi and enter the password of the Wi-Fi. But if we communicate with the family members, we can even ship the device pre-configured with those settings. So you only have to connect it to the power outlet. And then, so from that perspective, an older adult that has mild cognitive impairment or a little bit of dementia, they don't have to worry. Once you connect it to the power outlet, the device will continue operating, and then the families remotely can initiate a video visit with their loved ones and just start talking through the device. The older adult doesn't have to touch anything on the screen. Actually, a family member was using Sociavi for their parents, their father, because his father was having a very hard time using a flip phone because he was confused which number do I press to call, or even with these initial stages of dementia, he was getting confused of how to place the phone in order to start talking. But with Sociavi, the daughter was just appearing on the screen, and he was just talking with her. Nothing else was needed for him to do. So these are all the things that we have been paying attention to make it simple for all of them to use.
That sounds great. I know for a fact, my husband Matt, after a while, he could not figure out how to work his phone. He couldn't dial out. Then he couldn't even answer the phone. He didn't even know how to do that. And a device such as Sociavi is great because then someone could just, like I could have had a conversation with him from work. He could have just heard me. You know, that would have been, and I could have seen him. That would have saved me a lot of stress had I had known about this device. How long have you had this company, Paula?
So the company has been in business for 7 years. However, I must say that the product has really evolved through the years. We started with the prototype at the beginning in 2015, but then we started listening to families and professionals, and we are right now in the 3rd or 4th generation of this product because we hear that we needed to make it bigger. We needed to make it simple. We needed to have other features like the virtual visit and how to make them in the way that is as simple as I described that to you. So it has been an evolution to get to this point. And we continue expanding. We continue adding more functionality to make it user-friendly and with more engaging activities for older adults. If you allow me, Betsy, through the years, I really look into senior living and older adults in general, and I notice a lot of the prevalence of dementia in senior settings. So that's how I started educating myself, learning about dementia, learning about Alzheimer's, becoming certified dementia practitioner, certified dementia educator, and all of that because it's important to learn what are the capabilities that remain for a person living with dementia, and can make their life, their quality of life, the best that it can be. So we added to the device a series of simple and soothing and stimulating activities that they can do on the touch screen that would allow them to engage and be motivated. They are one-on-one activities that they can do with their family members or with an aide just on the screen itself. So these are all evolutions that we keep adding to the device to make it not only a communication but also an engaging and stimulation device that is there for them to take advantage. Also, the families can send them reminders and alerts. So if you want to remind your loved one, we're going to visit you this weekend, or if you want to reminders of a doctor's appointment, all of that the family member can configure and set remotely from the companion app.
That is that just sends chills down me of how wonderful this device is. So this device is like 4 or 5 years old, but you keep improving on it, and you're going to keep evolving and improving this as as technology expands. I'm sure your device will be upgraded, but this is why, Paula, I I do my show. And this is why I'm so passionate to have people like you on my show who are passionate about what they do to improve the lives of people. And, you know, I wish I knew about you and your company when my husband was alive. And, folks, I'm not kidding when I say I have people on this show that I wish I knew about, because Chatting with Betsy is about helping people to have a better life. How can I help you, the audience, to have a better life? And that's having people on, like Paula Mueller, who has Sociavi, who has this device that people can communicate with their loved ones. They don't have to be isolated anymore. They can communicate with their children and grandchildren. How I wish that I knew about this device. And, you know, you're welcome. People think, oh, Betsy, you just say that. No, I'm serious. I really wish I knew a lot of guests when Matt was still alive. I was a nervous wreck at work because I couldn't communicate with Matt until, Josh came home. I mean, Matt was okay by himself, and I knew that, but he could not answer the phone anymore. Or then he would drop it, and of course he couldn't find it. So if you have to work, and if your loved one is safe being at home, and you want to be able to communicate with them, they can no longer use a phone, I would highly consider checking into Sociavi for sure.
Thank you, Betsy, so much.
You're welcome.
What you have described is exactly why I created this product, because those are the realities that I've been seeing from the families that I've been helping all along. It's exactly that situation that you want to keep your family members safe. You want to stay connected with them, but you know that they are having some difficulties because of many reasons, right? One of them may be cognitive decline, but also it may be a disease like Parkinson, for example, or multiple sclerosis that it make them very, or any other condition that it make them very difficult for them to operate operate a device. And then you worry that's exactly. Adult children worry about the health and safety of their loved ones, and that's what I want to help. That's what I build. What I have for Sociavi.
Yes, and I'll tell you, Paula, I know that caregivers all the time say people don't call my loved one. They forget about their dad or their grandfather or uncle, whoever it is. So sometimes people don't even want to communicate with a person who has dementia because they can't pick up the phone. They expect the person with dementia to pick up a phone and call them. That's not going to happen, people. I can tell you that right now, unless their caregiver will dial the phone. And even then, it's a little difficult. So if you have a device like Sociavi and they can see you and they can hear you, there's no excuse. I'm going to be a little harsh here. This is my Jersey girl coming out. There's no excuse why people cannot communicate with someone who has dementia or Parkinson's. Get a device like this, Sociavi. Contact Paula. And check. What's your website, Paula?
So the website
is,
yes, thank you. The website is www.sociavi.com. So it's S like in Sam, O like in Oscar, C like in cat, I like in Isabel, A like in apple, V like in Victor, I like in Isabel. Sociavi.com.
I would highly recommend going on the website, and you will be amazed what you see. I met Paula in person, and she showed me, so I got to see the pictures in front of me. And I'll tell you, it's phenomenal. And it's something that I definitely would consider if I knew about it. I definitely probably would have gotten it if I had known. You know, how many times, Paula, have you heard, I wish I knew about you. I wish I knew about this.
Yeah. I have heard that a couple of times. We know it's the reality of us caring for a loved one, and the reality is that caregiving is a situation that we are facing. Our population is aging, and this is not a situation only of the U.S. It's worldwide. In South America, people are aging, so the population all over the world are getting older.
Yes.
So we do have this situation, and it's true. People are getting older in different ways, and we know there are some people of 80 or 90 that are fully capable, but there are many others that are not. So how do we interact? And the need for communication and interaction is still, like we were talking at the beginning, is so important for everyone, for the grandchildren to know that they belong to something bigger, that they have a history. It's so important to hear. I still remember all the stories that my grandmother used to tell me when she was growing up, and how different the world was. And that gave me perspective of how far we have come, and it made my world bigger than just my immediate family or what I was immediately experiencing. And on the other hand, I know she shared it every moment with me, even at the very end when she wasn't able to speak, just being able to be together. I have heard very beautiful stories of through COVID that people were not able to visit or fly and be with their grandparents, but through Sociavi they were able to establish that connection and be together with the newborn grandchild. So all of those are so precious moments that technology can enable, and it's true, as you said, it's not as beautiful as the touch, as being next to each other and hug and all of that, but it's much better than nothing. And it's much better that to see someone, to hear someone, to look at how your loved one is doing, and vice versa, that they know that you are reaching out to them. And there's no frustration in order to establish that connection.
Yes, yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. Yes, that is so true. Josh was fortunate. My son was fortunate that we lived near my parents and Matt's mom and my grandmother, who was alive at the time, before she went to a facility, but we went to visit her in the facility. And so Josh grew up with his grandparents and even his great-grandmother, and I loved visiting my grandmother. I loved to hear her stories. But now that everyone is all over the place and you don't have that close generation living together or near each other anymore, this is a great way to still hear stories, to have that rich heritage of knowing, of your children knowing their grandparents or nieces or nephews, even anyone. To stay in touch. I have to ask you this, Paula. Can people play games on that device?
Yes, there are games on the device. There are solitaire, a jigsaw puzzle, word search. There are all of these activities that they can do with the touch. So match numbers, match words, paint, and I must say everything is really age and gender appropriate. So these are not games for children. These are really with the themes that are relevant for older adults. So we have, for example, one of the activities is match the numbers, and when you do the correct match, it appears the image of a celebrity like Marilyn Monroe or Martin Luther King Jr., and all of that is to stimulate the memories, reminisce, and stimulate the discussion with the older adult.
That is cool. How about music?
We have also the opportunity to have a personalized library of videos, and through the videos you can have music for them that is appropriate, that the things that they like Frank Sinatra or whatever music that they, classical music that they want. So we can create these libraries of videos, and through the video, the music.
That's wonderful.
We are also incorporating for next year new features of that we're planning to make it even more rich in features.
That is cool. I know that, as technology expands, because it's always changing, that, Sociavi will be changing with it and keeping, up to date. But I can't thank you enough, Paula Mueller, for coming on, for having your company, and for helping people to age in place if they're at home, in nursing facilities, assisted living. They can have this device, and it helps keep communication open, and it is very important for mental and emotional and physical health to keep communicating with people. We're creatures we want to be with people. We want to have conversations with people. Sometimes I am a little harsh, so that's because it's my passion. But, can you just imagine, I want the audience to picture yourself in, whether you're in your home or assisted living or nursing facility, and no one comes to see you, and you don't hear any conversations. You don't have conversations with your family. Imagine what that must be like for people. I'm sure that's depressing, folks. I'll tell you that. That's depressing. I think that we need to start having these devices for our family members who are aging, and to be able to communicate. It's so important. There was, during the pandemic, people couldn't visit their loved ones. How great it would have been to have this device. We don't know what will happen again. They say the flu season is going to be really bad this year. They're telling people, make sure you get, your flu vaccination. We never know what's going to happen with the COVID virus, and that's why I really want to recommend this device. If your person is in assisted living or wherever they are, please get this device for them so they can communicate in case they're not able to have visitors again. We never know when that could happen again. My mom is in assisted living. They had a COVID outbreak, and they were restricted to, they couldn't go to the dining room, and then they were, testing visitors again. But, this device is just, to me, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it's so vital. It's so vital for the loved one to have communication. And you know what, Paula, you're right. Baby boomers, they're calling it the silver tsunami.
Yeah.
And I'm a baby boomer. I was born 1957. So the baby boomers, I believe, are from 45 or 46 to 63 or 64, something like that, in those years. Mm-hmm. That's a whole lot of people, folks. That's a whole lot of us. And really, that's, holidays are coming up.
Thank you. Yes.
What a great holiday gift, birthday gift, Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever. I would really consider that. Paula, they were to purchase this device, and do you have like a guarantee, or like where they can return it? They don't like it?
Yes, absolutely. All of the above. So it has a 1-year guarantee, and then if they don't, if they think that they don't need it, they can definitely stop there is a monthly subscription. That's how the pricing is involved, There's no cost for the device. It's only the monthly subscription. And then there's no cost for how many family members can connect to this. I must say it's a secure, private family and member network. So there's no phone number involved, no email involved. It's all secure and private. And this family and friends member network, it can include, if the family wants to, it can include members of the clergy if they want to communicate with the loved one, or it could be one nurse or a physical therapist, anyone that would like that would need, and the family allows that, to have interaction with the older adult. Something else that I wanted to say is that many occasions, the default mode of operation of this device is a slideshow of pictures. So the older adult is always seeing the pictures that the family sent to this device, and they see a slideshow of pictures. So here is the opportunity for the families to share moments when they are on vacation, when there is a graduation, and then the loved one is going to feel that they are involved in all of those activities. Even if they are not having a live face-to-face video visit, they will have those moments to share it through the slideshow of pictures. And lastly, what I wanted to say is, and I wanted to share that because I wasn't expecting that from a design perspective, but the fact that it's a hands-free device is not a tablet with a stand. It's not something that you have to hold on your hands. Being hands-free, it makes such a difference even in the body language when you have a conversation with your loved one. The fact that they don't have to hold something or touch something, it may really them feel that you are there talking to them, there physically. It's such a joy that I can share those stories because the reaction is remarkable, how different it is being hands-free and private. So it's not that a nurse would have to hold the device for you like an iPad or a tablet. It's your own device. It's where the families can reach out to them at any time.
That is so wonderful. I get so excited about devices like this and people like you, Paula, that are helping people, that are improving people's lives. That is just so fantastic and phenomenal, and I just love what you do and love this device, and I just think it's wonderful. And people, check it out. You have nothing to lose. Go on the website, www.sociavi.com. It will be in the blog, so please read the blog that Jeannie White, station manager, writes and produces the show. I want to thank you, Paula Mueller, for coming on. Paula Mueller, founder of Sociavi Company. You're welcome. The Sociavi device. Folks, check it. You pay a monthly prescription for streaming services. Most people do. So why not get a subscription where your loved one and you can communicate?
Thank you. Thank you, Betsy, so much for the opportunity to share information and resources with your community.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. And we'll have to meet up again.
Yes,
that was
absolutely.
Nice.
We should, yeah.
Excuse me. So, folks, I want to thank everyone for listening. Please share this show to help other people. Maybe you know someone who could use Sociavi device. Let them know about it. Word of mouth. This is my Jersey girl again. When we don't share information that can help other people, that's being selfish. It is. Share information that can help other people. When I ask the audience to share this show, it's not for so much my benefit. It's because it's my mission and vision to help people, for people to know about resources that could help them. And I really would appreciate it if you, the audience, would share this show so people can know about the Sociavi device and to help other people. And it is free to subscribe to Chatting with Betsy, which is on Spreaker, iHeart. You can hear my show on PassionateWorldTalkRadio.com. And you can also look at my page there. And you can follow me on Facebook, Betsy Wurzel, Wurzel. And where can people find you, Paula?
So
other than your website.
All the time. We are in all social, we are in LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and they can send an email directly to info@sociavi.com, and so info@sociavi.com. They can reach out to us, and we will get back to them immediately.
Oh, thank you. And I'll tell you, folks, Paula is lovely. Lovely person. And I'm so glad I was able to meet Paula in person. And it's a small world. And I want to thank Lillian Caldwell, who's CEO of Passion World Talk Radio, who makes this all possible. And again, folks, thanks for listening, sharing, subscribing. When you share this show, Chatting with Betsy, you're helping me with my mission and vision, and it is helping to honor my husband Matt's memory. Get choked up. Because I promised Matt I would continue on, and I am continuing on. And I want to help people, as many people as possible, and I can only do it with the help of the audience. So I really would appreciate share the show with your friends and tell people about Chatting with Betsy, because I have phenomenal guests on from all walks of life about many different topics that can help people. And matter of fact, I would say most of my guests, whether it may not be directly related to caregiving, a caregiver can use it. If you have grandchildren, you know, I've covered domestic violence. I've covered so many different topics that anyone can benefit from. And that's what Chatting with Betsy is about. It's to help people. And I just want to thank everyone again. And folks, as I always say at the end of my show, in a world where you could be anything, please be kind, shine your light bright, because we all work to be kind, shine our light. This would be a much brighter, happier world. And until we chat again, this is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio. Bye-bye, everybody.